Hey guys, Todd the Cheap Drums Guy. Trying something new today with the new camera. Of course it's not working like I wished it would. I've made two videos today with it, and the first one I thought I had it right. I came down, had about a 10 or 12 minute spiel, then I go back, check the camera, and I forgot to turn the mic on. Well, there was 12 minutes of my time wasted. Then I tried it again using the little remote control that comes with it. No matter what I do, the bloody thing keeps shutting down. So, hence the reason I started the way I did just now. Turn it on, walk in front of you. I apologize for that. But anyways, I just want to do a real quick video on setting up your drum set, your cheap drums, or your old drums. Now, when I first just utilized my two electronic drum kits, they're set up in such a fashion with the racks that the toms are right in front of you because they're shallow and they fit up there very well. Brand new drum sets you buy today have what they call fast toms, which are a shallower depth, like 6-7 inches, and so they'll fit on the bass drum real well, and they won't be up too high. However, my toms, my 12 and my 13, have an 8-inch and a 9-inch depth, which brings them up quite a bit off your bass drum and up here. And you don't want to get too carried away and too far away from your snare drum, because like when you have to do a fill, you have to go up and then work them this way. And it just doesn't work too well. A lot of the kits that, if you go on, look at an old catalog, or go on to Reverb for used drums or whatever, you'll see like these 1980s kits. And I swear to God, some of those toms are, I don't know what they were thinking, but some of these are just massive. Like my third kit, which I haven't got yet, and I'll probably have to wait till Christmas, is probably going to be a Premier kit. I love the British Premier drums. I actually have a Premier snare coming here, a stainless steel snare coming either tomorrow or the next day I ordered. But I like those Premier drum sets, and a lot of them they don't make Premier anymore. A lot of them are those older ones where these just massive, massive toms. And of course, this isn't the 80s. The 80s were good. I love the 80s. I miss the 80s. But as for drums, the looks of the drums look like ass. Case in point, the Go-Go's. What's the song? Head Over Heels? Head Over Heels. Gina Shock, their beautiful drummer. She's playing an old Rogers kit with these honking toms. I swear to God, they look like floor toms. They looked ridiculous. Back then it was cool. Today, not so much. But even Phil Rudd, AC/DC, if you've seen that big sonar, was it SQ2 kit or whatever it is, the big custom sonar he uses in concert. That first floor tom he's got, or the rack tom, that's probably a 14-inch floor tom he's using as a rack tom. And he's got a 16 and an 18. It's just massive. But getting back to the reason for this video, most of the YouTube drummers you see on there, quite often, even just anybody playing on stage, they have their kit is kind of simplified. They don't use the racks on the bass drum. They seem to take their smallest tom, mount it in a snare stand off to the left of the bass drum, or to your right as you're viewing it, and they just use the floor tom. And usually wherever the other tom is, I don't know, they put it on a shelf somewhere. I didn't want to just leave it on the shelf. If I got the drums, I want to use them. So, not really following the lead, I was just going to try it out and see what all the hoo-ha was about. So with this kit, when I did get this kit, my number one kit, it did come with a very inexpensive snare stand. Very, very lightweight. I didn't need it, didn't really want it. It was a Drum Zone brand. I have my D Drum heavyweight snare stand that I use, so that was extra. So I'm like, all right, let me just see what it does. So I mounted the 12-inch in the snare stand, and it's wonderful. then I was thinking, well, what to do with the 13, and I had already ordered a Gibraltar basic clamp, and I can't remember what I was going to use it for at the time, but I changed my mind after I had already ordered it. So anyways, I said, well, let me give it a shot. That 13, you know, I don't have a 14-inch floor tom with this kit, just a 16-inch. And I said, well, why don't I just use it as a floor tom also, but just mount it. So I used the rack, I used the tom arm, and I mounted it to the heavyweight cymbal stand. And it works wonderfully. And since I couldn't use the two up above anyways, I thought that was the only way to go, you know, that's the way I've been practicing on my electronic kit, so I have to do it this way. Well, I didn't have to do it this way, of course, but then again, it doesn't work as well. So I tried it out doing it this way. My 12, my 13, and my 16 right next to it. And I'll tell you one thing, it's fabulous. And if you really think about it, probably 99% of the music, the rock and roll you hear today, or country or whatever it is, like that has drums in it, 99% of the music you can play, or that they have today, you can play on a kit like this and not stumble or not have any issues, unless you're following Neil, you know, the late great Neil Peart from Rush, and of course, God, I couldn't even imagine having a kit of his size down here. But then again, I am not that intricate with playing drums. I am no Neil Peart. I am not even Neil Peart's partner. So I'll stick to what I have. But being so used to playing the toms that way, I thought I'd stumble with them like this. But in all actuality, I don't at all. And this works so much better than I think with two upwards mounted toms, or three like I had on when I had both kits combined. And I'm finding out that the single tom up here, my 12-inch, in the snare stand, I use less. I don't use that often, actually. And I actually use the 13 and 16 in conjunction quite a bit. And it's my go-to area for a fill on most of the songs, like, gosh, if you use like a lot of like ZZ Top, except like in the older days, pre-81, Frank Beard drum. I mean, Frank Beard was a hell of a drummer back there. He's more of a minimalist now, but only a couple of the bigger fills. Sometimes I'll stumble with having it like this, but generally it's just perfect now. Sometimes I'll just, with some accents, you can just use the 12, but for the most part, when you're going from the snare, going to a fill, you know, a small to medium fill, the 13 and 16 is where I'm usually at. And I like it like this. It's just so comfortable. And it's not so claustrophobic with all this wall around you. Although the cymbals do add their little touch to it. So yeah, if you're stumbling with trying to get your toms closer and drop down, you don't want the tom sitting on the bass drum. You're going to mar the finish up quite a bit. And give this setup a try. I did. And I'll tell you one thing, I don't think I'd want to go anywhere else. This just works so beautifully. And it's quite pleasing to the eye too when you come down here and you see the kit. And it just looks really good as well. It's nice, neat appearance. So those of you with those extra large toms, if you have an older kit, like an 80s kit, this is ideal for you. All you need is a lightweight snare stand. Now I say lightweight for a reason. When I first tried this, I tested out both stands, the lightweight stand and the heavyweight stand. I didn't know, because I thought I'd be beating on the 12-inch a little bit more than I actually do, so I thought I probably might need the heavyweight there. I don't. But there's a big difference. There's a different sound too between the two stands. The lighter stand, the drum seems to resonate a whole lot better tone with the lighter weight stand as opposed to the heavyweight. So I was, happy to use the heavyweight for my snare, but something about that lighter weight stand, it just really works. Plus, the footprint it leaves on the floor is much smaller than my heavyweight, so you can move it around, and it's a lot easier to adjust and get comfortable. And as you can see, this one, it's a comfortable distance. It's probably about 4.5 inches away from my snare. It's just maybe 3 inches just up above the snare, just to clear the bass drum. And I've got 3/4 of an inch clearance between this drum and the bass. And it's ideal. It just works good. Now, if I do have to work on a fill, go from snare to the small tom to the next toms, unless you're playing speed metal or something crazy where you go, brr, 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 you know, it might cause you a problem there. But for the majority of the music that I like to play to and play along with, this is absolutely perfect, and it is so enjoyable. And it's so easy to set up the kit that way, because if you, like with my kit, an inexpensive kit with the tubular tom arms, it sucks. I mean, it really sucks. They're not the good L rods, and sometimes they take forever to get adjusted, get right, and then just once you get the one right, and you put the other one in, and you think you got that right, then you got to change this one again. There's really, it seems like there's really not a happy medium that you can go with it. So I just alleviate using it all together as much as I can. And like with my second kit, that is a wonderful kit. It's a Sound Percussion Lab kit. I'll probably do a video just on it alone, but I got that one used for $100. It's just a 4-piece kit I got from Guitar Center. 20-inch bass, 12-inch rack tom, 14-inch floor tom, and a 13-inch snare. Excellent, excellent kit. Got brand new Evans EC2s on it. It is, I don't know why anybody gets rid of that kit. There's a lot of them in Guitar Center. I got mine for $100. I've seen them in there for $150 and $200. There's still like 5 or 6 in there. It's just absolutely fantastic. I don't know why people get rid of them. There was nothing wrong with the set. It's absolutely perfect condition except for the heads. But I plan on rewrapping that drum one day, because I do have an added 16-inch floor tom to go with it, and the floor tom's maroon. The drums are black, and I'm OCD and real nitpicky about that, and I hate mismatch. So one of these days, I doubt I'll do a video on it just because it's just a hassle doing videos. I'll remove all the wraps. I'll stain the shells, do a nice light honey-colored stain on it, and I'll use a clear vinyl wrap around it. I'm not going to use a colored vinyl wrap of any color. I want the wood grain, I want to see the wood, but then again, I don't want to spend the next 2 weeks coating it with polyurethane, sanding it, coating it, sanding it, coating it. If you want to do that for your drums, great. I got better things to do. I work full-time. I've got to take care of a family, so I don't have that much time. So I thought, well, all these places online where you buy wraps at, generally for countertops or cabinet wraps, you can get the real beautiful glossy ones. Don't buy drum wraps for $200 or $300. Go look on Amazon and find these wraps that you can use on cabinets. Superior, I mean, beautiful glossy finishes. And it's probably the same stuff. You're just paying $9 a roll on Amazon for a 17-inch by 7-foot long piece. You know, why spend $200 when you could spend $9? But anyways, instead of a colored one, I wanted to go with the clear. So when I do stain the wood, I don't have to use all these coats of, do all the sanding and the spraying and the sanding and the spraying. I'll just put a clear wrap around it. Now I'm still trying to figure out how to hide the seam, but I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. But when I do rewrap that drum, I'm planning on taking off the bass drum tom mount, and just turn the drum around and then put in another vent hole in the top, just to make it look more like a virgin bass drum. Or I'll have to figure out something. If I can, I have a friend who does woodworking, and see if he can make a patch to go over it, something that'll match, maybe also in poplar. But just so it will clean up the look on it quite a bit. Although I actually also like the look of the way it is. It's just, they're nice. It's a nice set of drums. But I do love this kit also. But that kit, I don't know, maybe it's because the bass drum's smaller. It just seems to work better in this configuration. With the 22, it does work. As you see, it does work really nice here. And this is, I think, the best way to have a drum set set up. It makes sense. It's so user friendly. It's not all up in your face. It's comfortable, and you have access to your cymbals. You can get your ride cymbal real close with that other tom missing. I probably should put my ride on a boom stand so it gets out a little quicker. Maybe swap those two around. It's just more comfortable like this. So if you're downstairs or wherever you got your drums at and you're tinkering around with them and you got an extra snare stand, give it a shot. Or if you do have a clamp, take the arm out of the bass drum, swing it around, mount it to a cymbal stand right next to it, and keep everything off over to the side a little bit. And you're going to see how user friendly it is and how nice and neat and orderly. And just because you got them honking sized toms, I mean, those big toms do produce a lot of beautiful big sound. Have you seen the little 8-inch and 10-inch toms, these fast toms? It's like a kid's drum set. I don't know. Give me the big toms any day. They just have a better sound to them, a more deeper, better tone, and I don't know what more can you say. But I just thought this video might help out those who have these bigger drums and they want to get rid of them in lieu of a smaller kit, just so it just doesn't look so ridiculous like we're back in the 80s. Although if you didn't live in the 80s, you didn't live. But anyways, that's it for me today. I'm Todd the Cheap Drum Guy, coming to you from beautiful northern Michigan, and I just mowed my lawn.